The idea I'm thinking about today is repression. Is repressing an idea sometimes better? I see that it's taken for granted that ideas need to be expressed. Sexually, for example, the idea is in the zeitgeist that if you don't express your sexual ideas, if you repress them in a Victorian way, that they'll come out in other things, and those things will be negative, that it's bad for you, etc., 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 etc. But neurologically speaking, impulses take the path of least resistance. If you think something frequently, you're more likely to think it. Thoughts become stronger as you dwell on them, right? So, if you're thinking about something a lot, then, yeah, I guess repressing it would become frustrating, at least. But if by repressing it you are not thinking about it, if you're putting something out of your mind, then you're not flexing those mental muscles, and the idea should theoretically diminish. So therefore, when is it good to express an idea, and when is it good to put it out of your head? Like, say, if you're constantly dwelling on negative things, a simple solution is just to, and in fact a therapeutic solution in cognitive therapy, it's all about just breaking the chain of thoughts that lead to things. So if you start, and every depressed person knows this, if you start thinking about one bad thing, it leads to thinking other bad things. And if you can just break that chain deliberately, consciously, you can lessen the severity of rumination. So let's talk about repressing an idea in society then. Let's talk about racism, because it's always a good go-to topic. And we'll tie this into freedom of speech, sure. The notion in the zeitgeist right now is that we have to be allowed to talk about, we have to allow racists to speak, because they are the canaries in the coal mine for all the rest of our free speech. When do we as a society get to declare a conversation over? Because I think, and I feel most people think, the conversation about racial superiority is done. And anyone who thinks other than that is mocked, is derided. No one serious entertains notions of racial superiority anymore. So why do we have to keep having the conversation? And how do we move forward from that conversation? If we can't repress it, if we can't ignore it, when is freedom of speech and the necessity of expressing everything holding us back from moving forward in a conversation? Because we've been having a conversation about race for 100 years now. How do we ever get past it if we constantly have to express and acknowledge the expression of every idea? How do we grade ideas? How do we take good ideas and talk about them? And how do we as a culture ignore outdated, stupid ideas? Or do we have that right to? Or is society just a matter of everyone's opinion is equal, no matter how ridiculous, and we have to acknowledge them as equals? Because that's really going to hold us back as a species. I think that's what is holding us back in so many ways when you think about religious belief. The fact that we still have to acknowledge that, and we have to be respectful of other people's unicorns, is so stupid, and it holds society back. Why can't we repress that? And I don't buy into slippery slope ideas that repressing one thing means eventually everything will be repressed. I think we as a society can selectively choose things that we encourage and that we discourage, and we can do better than just saying all ideas are equal.